Welcome to Wisdom Unveiled. In this deep dive, we are focusing, as always recently, entirely on the incredible wisdom of the Persian poet Hafez Shirazi. And our insights today, they come directly from our continuing study of these fascinating conversations with the Iranian philosophers Dr. Dinani and Dr. Larijani from the program Marifat. Now, just a reminder, we are working with translations here, so some of the beautiful subtleties of the original Persian, well, they might come across a little differently in English. This is actually our 31st exploration into Hafez's work, hard to believe, part of our planned series of 40. And today, we're jumping straight into that opening line I just read. It sounds simple, maybe, but it is so incredibly rich.
Our mission really is to unpack with this cup, the jam, what it really represents, and maybe more puzzlingly, why Hafez says we tend to seek our most precious inner stuff from strangers. So get ready. We're going to dig into ideas about your own inner potential, the role of intellect, let's say, the common trap of looking for validation outside ourselves. Hopefully it'll offer you a fresh angle on your own searches.
It really is amazing, isn't it, how just one line, especially viewed through the lens of Dr. Dinani and Dr. Larijani's discussions, opens up such a universal human thing. That first part, for years, it immediately signals this isn't some fleeting wish. What does that extended time frame suggest to you? It points to a habit, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. For years, it paints a picture of something chronic, doesn't it? Not just, a passing phase. Makes me think of those patterns we get stuck in, the searches that seem to just go on and on.
Exactly. It hints at something quite deeply rooted, perhaps in human nature itself. And then the heart sought, Del, in the original Persian. As Dr. Dinani and Dr. Larijani really stressed, this isn't merely the physical organ pumping blood. What was their take on what Del signifies here in Hafez's context?
Yeah, they really emphasize that Del stands for the core of our being, like our consciousness itself, the source of our deepest feelings, our desires, our longings. So it's not just some abstract wanting, it's the very essence of you that's doing the seeking.
Which makes the next phrase even more interesting. Sought the cup from us. This us is quite curious, isn't it? It suggests the very thing we're yearning for is somehow already connected to us, within us.
It sets up this incredible internal dynamic, right? Our core self is looking for something it's already sort of linked to. And this cup, the famous jammy jam, that seems absolutely central to understanding what that something is. Could you maybe elaborate on its symbolism, drawing from those Marifat talks?
Well, the jammy jam, the mythical cup of Jamshid, as Dr. Larijani explained it, is traditionally seen as this vessel that could reveal all knowledge, past, present, future, everything. It's a really potent symbol for, total insight, complete understanding.
So we're not talking about finding an actual literal cup then?
No, not at all. The philosophers on Marifat, they really drove home the deeper meaning. The real jammy jam, in this philosophical sense, isn't some object out there. It is the human being. Our own innate capacity, our potential to grasp the whole picture, to achieve that complete insight. In a way, your own potential is this cup.
That really connects with the concept of the Insan-e, the perfected human, doesn't it?
Precisely. Figures like the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in the Islamic tradition, are often seen as embodiments of this potential fully realized. They're described almost like mirrors reflecting the entire cosmos within themselves. It just highlights the staggering capacity that potentially we all carry inside.
Wow, that's quite an image. So this amazing potential, this cup of knowledge, is within us. But then Hafez hits us with the paradox in the second half of the line. That which it possessed, it implored from strangers.
Mm-hmm.
So who exactly are these strangers, the beguna?
Right, the begona. As Dr. Dinani particularly unpacked it in Hafez's symbolic world, the stranger is essentially anything external to our true, authentic inner self. Right. Anything separate from our own inherent reality and that inner potential we just talked about.
Okay, so that could mean things like material possessions, chasing status, what other people think of us, needing external approval, maybe societal expectations, basically anything out there.
Exactly that, all of it. So the heart, which intrinsically has this potential for ultimate knowing, this inner jammy jam, is paradoxically looking for it on the outside. It's asking, begging external sources for something it already holds.
And that really is the central puzzle Hafez throws down, isn't it? Why do we do this? Based on the Marifat discussions, what reasons do they suggest for this tendency? Why look outward when the treasure's supposedly inside?
Well, like you said, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Dr. Larijani hinted that maybe, just maybe, we don't even recognize our own inner wealth. It's hidden, perhaps, or we don't know how to access it. And the external world, well, it seems more solid, more immediate, maybe easier to grasp.
Yeah, it's like we trust what we can see and touch more than the often invisible depths inside us.
Right. Getting that promotion, buying that thing, it feels like concrete progress, whereas inner work, that can feel much more subtle, maybe even abstract or difficult. Dr. Dinani used a great analogy, actually. He said it's like frantically searching everywhere for your reading glasses.
Only to find them pushed up on your forehead. Yes, that captures it perfectly. Overlooking what's right there, or rather right in there. And this whole inner outer search thing, it makes me think of that Quranic verse that came up in the discussions.
Ah, yes. We will show them our signs in the horizons and within themselves. Sanuriyatina filafaki wa fi anfusihim. How did Dr. Dinani and Dr. Larijani link that to Hafez's line? What was their interpretation?
Well, their take was that the journey often starts externally. We see things in the afaks, the horizons, the world around us. These external sights, these experiences, they can act as a trigger. They prompt an inner quest. It's like the outside world sparks a question or a curiosity deep inside us.
So the external isn't useless. It serves as a kind of prompt, a catalyst.
Exactly. It can be like a mirror reflecting something back at us that we then need to process internally. But, and this is the crucial part they stressed, the actual understanding, the true grasping and possessing of the knowledge these outer signs point towards, that happens and infusing within themselves, inside you.
I see. So we might gather data, have experiences out in the world, but the real comprehension, that aha moment, that's an inside job, making sense of it all internally.
Precisely. We can collect facts from outside, but the synthesis, the wisdom, the actual knowing that happens within our own consciousness, you are the place where understanding ultimately occurs.
Okay, so if this incredible potential, this jammy jam, is within us, how do we, get to it? How do we actually access it? What's the key to unlocking this inner treasure, according to the insights from Merfat?
The key, they consistently highlighted, fundamentally involves our effect, our intellect, our capacity for reason.
Intellect. That might seem a bit counterintuitive for some people who think of Hafez mainly in terms of, like, mystical love and ecstasy. How does Akal, reason, unlock this inner cup?
Well, Dr. Larijani drew a really sharp distinction. He compared human intellect with animal senses. Animals, he pointed out, often have far superior senses, right? Better sight, smell, hearing. But they don't possess this Jamei Yahanama, this world-revealing cup in the human sense. They don't grasp the totality, the underlying principles of existence in the way we potentially can.
And the crucial difference is Akwal, the unique rational faculty humans possess.
Ah, okay. So intellect is what lets us take that raw sensory data, the perceptions, and actually process it, transform it into real understanding, real knowledge, moving beyond just instinct.
Exactly. It's what allows for abstraction, for seeing connections, for understanding meaning. And importantly, the Marfat discussions really dug into a key distinction made within Islamic philosophy about different types or levels of intellect.
Right. Can you maybe clarify that distinction for us?
Sure. So there's what's called aqwa juzi. You could translate that as maybe partial or practical intellect. Think of it as the everyday reasoning mind, the part that helps you, plan your day, solve logistical problems, figure things out on a practical level. It's vital for navigating the world.
Okay, the functional mind. Got it.
But then there's aqla kuli, the universal or complete intellect. This represents a higher faculty, one capable of grasping deeper truths, universal patterns, spiritual realities. It's about seeing the whole, the connections, the bigger picture.
Ah, I see. So it's really the development, the cultivation of this higher intellect, the akla kuli, that opens the door to that inner jammy jam.
That's the essential idea, yes. By nurturing this higher reason, which is deeply connected to wisdom and spirit, you unlock that innate human potential for profound insight.
That's such an important clarification, especially given that, sometimes mystical paths are wrongly seen as being anti-intellect.
Exactly. And Dr. Dinani and Dr. Larijani were very clear on this point in the Marifat talks. They explained that the criticism you sometimes hear isn't against intellect itself. It's aimed at getting stuck only in the aql juzi, that limited, calculating, purely worldly mind, especially if it becomes detached from deeper wisdom, from heart, from spirit.
So the warning is about a kind of narrow instrumental reason, not reason itself in its fullest, highest capacity.
Precisely. They actually placed immense value on this higher integrated intellect, the aqli kuli. Dr. Dinani sometimes even referred to it as the deli aql, the heart of intellect, which really emphasizes integrating reason with that deeper awareness, with compassion, with love. It's an intellect that feels, you could say.
An intellect with heart. I like that. And one really crucial function of this higher intellect, something Dr. Larijani also brought up, is its ability to recognize its own limits.
Ah, yes. The awareness of one's own ignorance.
Exactly. Knowing what you don't know.
That humility, which comes from the higher intellect, akole kuli, is actually the gateway to true knowledge, isn't it? It stops you from becoming arrogant, keeps you open, ready to learn more, sometimes realizing the extent of what you don't understand is the biggest insight of all.
That makes total sense. And this whole idea, this potential for inner knowledge,
Yeah.
it doesn't just float freely, does it? It fits into a bigger picture, a wider worldview.
No, it's definitely situated within a broader context. In the Islamic worldview underpinning these discussions, it connects to the idea of a universe created out of divine compassion, Rahman, and ongoing mercy, Rahim. And concepts like wilaya, spiritual guardianship, or closeness to the divine, often associated with figures like the Prophet, also point to this immense capacity for knowing that resides within the perfected human.
So it all circles back to this incredible inherent potential sitting right inside each of us.
Absolutely. Which loops us right back to Hafez's opening line and the challenge it throws down to you, the listener. It really pushes you to ask, am I actively trying to cultivate this inner vision? Am I working on developing and refining my aql, my higher intellect? Or am I still primarily looking outside, still asking those strangers for the answers, the fulfillment, the treasure that's actually hidden within my own heart? Am I really trying to open my own inner door? That's the powerful question Hafez leaves hanging in the air.
So as we start to unpack just this one line from Hafez, guided by those brilliant discussions from Arafat with Dr. Dinani and Dr. Larijani, the core takeaway seems to be this. Our deepest desires often point towards a potential we already possess within us. And accessing that potential isn't merely about seeking externally, but about, well, turning inward, cultivating awareness, and nurturing our higher intellect.
That's it, exactly. It's an invitation to shift our focus, really, from looking primarily out there to recognizing the profound resources we have in here as the ultimate source.
And that leaves you, listening now, with a really potent thought to chew on, maybe one that could even shift things for you. If you genuinely possess this world-revealing cup, this jammy jam of vast potential right inside you, what does that fundamentally change? How does that affect how you approach your day-to-day life, your goals, your searches, how you relate to the world? How can you start to even recognize, let alone nurture and use this incredible inner treasure?
Profound questions indeed, all sparked by a single line of poetry interpreted through deep philosophical conversation.
And this is really just scratching the surface of Hafez's wisdom. We'll keep diving deeper into his verses in future explorations, continuing to draw on those rich Arafat discussions. Thank you so much for joining us on Wisdom Unveiled.
And just one final reminder. This has been our interpretation based on translations of conversations with Iranian philosophers. Some nuances or specific details might not have been perfectly captured. We do apologize for any potential discrepancies.